What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Coordinated Chaos. I'm your host, Logan Hill, and once again, I am coming to you strictly as a Philadelphia Eagles fan who is as happy as I've ever been, pretty much as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. It is an incredible time to be alive as a guy that just lives and dies with every single game, every single snap, every single player injury, just everything the team goes through from like literally 365 days a year. I am as big a fan as you're ever going to meet, and this is just one of the better days, one of the better times, like I said, to just be alive as a fan. So this is incredible. This is completely uncut, basically, just raw, just initial feelings of the aftermath of Super Bowl 59. There's no game plan for this podcast. This is just going to be me essentially riffing right here, so just stick with me if you can. I'm just going to kind of go through some things that I just have on my mind right now, and I think I should get it out. Bear with me as well, as I actually did come down with the flu on Friday before the Super Bowl. So if you feel like I sound a little weird, if I'm a little nasally, I apologize, but I've been battling through it, so my voice might actually crack a little bit here and there, something along those lines. If that happens, you know exactly why that's the case. So the first word that came to mind in the aftermath, actually even as the game was just unfolding on Sunday, was just the word vindication. I just knew in my heart that the Philadelphia Eagles, this team, this nucleus that they have right now with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, just the whole team, Lane Johnson, just Hall of Famers, Brandon Graham, just everybody that's been there for a long time. I felt like this nucleus 100% could and would win a Super Bowl together. And obviously in 2023, it looked like it was falling apart. And I really thought, I was like, man, there's no way that this ends this way. Like, there's just no way that, like, everybody goes their separate ways after this season. It just cannot end that way. And obviously after 2022, which is obviously this jacket that I'm repping right now is from the media night of 2022 Super Bowl. I attended it live. It was heartbreaking to see live. Of course, I mean, like, we spent a lot of money to be there to go watch the Birds play in a Super Bowl. It was an incredible experience. I wouldn't take it back for the world. Obviously, it was heartbreaking, and honestly, it kind of gave me a smidgen of PTSD, to be completely honest with you. But I wouldn't take it away for the world. I just knew in my heart of hearts that was only going to be just a bump in the road. That was going to be a speed bump in the road. That was going to be just a part of the bigger story, the grand scheme of things, because I just knew that this team was capable of winning a Super Bowl, and they eventually got it done yesterday in Super Bowl 59, in just overwhelming fashion, obviously, which is just incredible. I just like to have a Super Bowl where you're stress-free is incredible. Obviously, it happened in the NFC Championship game this year as well, where we just completely mollywopped the Commanders as well. So just one of the most dominating victories for the conference championship as well as the Super Bowl we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. This is clearly the best Philadelphia football team we've ever seen in the history of the franchise. It's not even close. This is the best team. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the history of the franchise as well. So he goes straight to the top of every list for the Philadelphia Eagles, as he is basically the first franchise quarterback, the first quarterback that has been given the keys to the car, essentially, to win a Super Bowl, to start the season and finish the season as the starting quarterback and get it completely done. So just shout out to him. Obviously, I knew he could do it. I wanted it more for him than I did for just about anybody else because of how doubted he is and whatnot. All the haters and doubters, obviously we got our lick back this time. I mean, and I apologize for saying we in a lot of these situations, but man, like I said, I live and die by every snap, so I feel like I'm a part of the team. I know it's crazy to say something like that, but man, at the end of the day, like, we spend so much money and so much time and effort watching and just going to see the games live and just like spending money and just it's just a lot. And for it finally to all pay off is just the greatest feeling in the world. I couldn't ask for like a better, just end to this chapter right here. And obviously this opens up a whole new book for the next few seasons where, like, obviously at this point, the Eagles look like one of the best teams in all of football. And I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon as well, because of the fact that the roster's young. The quarterback is young. He just won his first Super Bowl at age 26. Has gone to 2, obviously, played well in both of them. Outplayed Mahomes, you could say, in both of those Super Bowls, depending on how you kind of want to slice it and dice it. Obviously, the Eagles in general right now, that it's crazy that they have gone up against the two, GOATs of the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks, and Tom Brady beat him in 2017 and then beat Patrick Mahomes in 2024 here. Just a crazy happenstance that all of this comes to fruition the way it did. It just feels like a storybook. I mean, from every player, top to bottom, there is a great story to be told. Obviously, the Jalen Hurts story is unbelievable. It's been kind of documented forever and ever, obviously, at this point. So that's not something that I want to completely cover from top to bottom. But obviously, got benched in the national championship game for Tua, has to transfer eventually after a year to Oklahoma, makes the college football playoff, doesn't win anything there, obviously gets knocked out in the first round there, and then gets drafted to the Eagles. And I'll be the first to admit, I was not a huge fan of us drafting Jalen Hurts. I'm not too proud to admit it. I thought it was a complete waste of a pick. I thought it was a disaster. I was like, why wouldn't you just put more pieces around Carson Wentz? Blah, blah, blah. He's proven that he can get it done. Look what he did in 2017's regular season. And man, did Howie Roseman have this way more correct than I did. And I just got to give him credit for that. Obviously, they saw something in Jalen Hurts that was just the intangibles along with the physical talent. He just got it all together and put it on display in the last 4 years as a starter for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was not a Jalen Hurts believer in the slightest at the beginning, and he just completely won me over. It was just like he's just too likable not to get behind. I mean, he's just a great dude, and he just puts his head down and he works no matter what. So I'm super proud of him. I'm super proud of the team, obviously. Like I said, top to bottom, Jalen Hurts, that storyline is incredible. I mean, somebody all the way down. I mean, BG coming back, this potentially being his last game ever from injury, the tricep tear that he suffered, and I think that was week 12 against the Rams. Just him coming back, it was just like, I don't know, man. Just everything about it was just like we had to go through, and it just made it so much sweeter when we did lose, unfortunately, in 2022. But it just made it 10 times more sweet that we beat the same team 2 years later, against Patrick Mahomes, a great player, Andy Reid, great head coach, great defensive coordinator, and Steve Spagnuolo. Like, none of this was easy. Like, it was not a cakewalk, but the Eagles made it look like a cakewalk, and there's a complete difference there. That's not the same thing whatsoever. So, just a crazy, crazy Super Bowl. Just incredible stuff. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, this is where I'm going to start to pat myself on the back, because I knew, like I said, deep down in my heart, I knew this was not going to be the way that this nucleus of team ended things. I thought for sure that this team could win a Super Bowl the way it was currently constructed. I knew as soon as they went out and got Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore that as long as they put some competence behind the game planning and scheming of things within this roster, that things would turn around very quickly. And guess what? They did. Vic Fangio called an incredible game. He's called great defense all season long. Obviously, the roster and the talent, matters in that regard. Obviously, we have the best roster in all of football right now. And then obviously Kellen Moore, I still questioned him throughout the season, but it seemed like with every week that went by, he was implementing more and more, and the offense got a little bit more creative as the season went on. And then he put together his masterpiece in the Super Bowl as well as the NFC Championship game in general. So, but let me pat myself on the back, because I will tell you, this is a timeline of things of when, obviously, like I said, once I knew that the coordinators of 2023 were out of there and they had hired all new people, I knew from that point on that the Eagles were on the right path and could definitely win a Super Bowl. So let me just tell you where I'm going to put my money where my mouth is here. September 5th, this was obviously right before the season started, I bet the Eagles to win the Super Bowl at plus 1,400. Only put $10 on it, so only won $150. But at the end of the day, like, I called my shot. Like, did I bet another team to win the Super Bowl as well? I did, and guess who I bet to also win the Super Bowl? You know, sometimes you got to spread the wealth a little bit. The Kansas City Chiefs. Guess who also made it? The Kansas City Chiefs. So I was right from the jump. Essentially, I knew that these two teams were once again on a collision course to go to the Super Bowl. January 1st. This was obviously New Year's Day. On my podcast, you can go back and look at it. I put a video up of the clipped part of it on my Twitter. I predicted the Super Bowl 59 matchup of obviously Eagles versus Chiefs and the Eagles winning. So called my shot on January 1st as well. January 26th, this was the night of the NFC Championship game. As soon as that happened, I knew it was already written. I knew it was a done deal. This is exactly word for word, and I quote what I tweeted out. I can't help but believe the Eagles finished the job this time. 2 years ago, we thought the Birds' defense was legit, but our eyes in Gannon deceived us. This year is different. We have the best run game, O-line, and defense on the planet. This team deserves immortality. So I believed it then, obviously. And then I backed it up. Once again, I put my money where my mouth was. January 27th, which is the day after, obviously, I put money where my mouth was and bet on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl money line at plus 105. I think it was $100 on that one, won like 210 or something like that. So made out pretty good on that. And then I was thinking, sitting there, like, man, I'm looking at the lines and stuff like that. This is January 31st now, and I'm thinking, when will you ever see one of the two quarterbacks that are starting in the Super Bowl not be one of the first two players in odds to win the Super Bowl MVP? So I was like, there's no way I can let this pass up, and there's no way that I don't see a path where Jalen Hurts just balls out. He has always played big in big games, and so I was just like, it is what it is, man. We're going to bet on Jalen Hurts to win the Super Bowl MVP, because if for some reason, somehow Steve Spagnuolo cooks up a defense where Saquon Barkley gets completely shut down, which he didn't get completely shut down, but like in comparison to everything that has happened thus far in the season, where everybody was like, oh, we're going to stack the box, we're going to stop Saquon, and nobody could do it, and Steve Spagnuolo essentially did it, so got to give him credit there. I was like, in any case where that happens, Jalen Hurts is going to have a field day, because essentially you're leaving everybody one-on-one in man coverage, and it's going to be easy pickings for Jalen Hurts, because, I mean, there was a lot of doubters, there was a lot of haters saying that he couldn't throw the ball, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't make the passing game work. And I knew that wasn't the truth. I knew, like, what I saw 2 years ago live, it was one of the best football games I had ever watched a quarterback play. I mean, some of the throws live action were unbelievable. I know they looked incredible on the TV, where, I mean, he's throwing this ball over the fingertips of players to Dallas Goedert on the sidelines, and it was one of the best games I've seen a quarterback ever play live, and they ended up losing the game, obviously. And that was mostly, like I said, to Jonathan Gannon kind of just screwing the pooch when it came to the way his defensive philosophy was in that game, especially when the defensive, front got essentially neutralized by the field and whatnot. But yeah, I thought that there was a big time shot that Jalen Hurts could have a big game here. He always shows up in the big spots, and he did it. And then he won Super Bowl MVP. Obviously, I bet $25 on that at plus 350, so I made it like $112 on that as well. So Eagles won the Super Bowl. I won a decent amount of money. I couldn't have been more happy about the whole thing. Obviously, this is just super random and just had to get a lot of this stuff off my chest, but I just wanted to say something, because, like, I don't want too much time to pass by, because I want to get kind of just that first reaction, feel that knee-jerk reaction to this Super Bowl. But, like, I mean, like, I couldn't be more happy, man. This is exactly why we watch the games. This is why we obsess over the team. This is exactly why we do everything. We had to walk through this game in order to get to this and win this. So look, it's all worth it. Your boy has been calling his shot for a long time. I bought the jerseys before the game. I knew the Eagles were going to win this game. I felt so good about it for, all week, or both weeks, obviously. It felt like those 2 weeks between the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl was a lifetime. And I just there was something about it, man. I just knew this team was the team of destiny, and we got the job done. So, look, I love this. I'm going to obviously expand a little bit, and maybe not a little bit more than this, but I'm going to expand on our long form podcast. I don't know when that's going to happen because we got to decontaminate the house from this flu virus that I'm going through before my guy can come on and do the podcast with me. But shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the Eagles fans. Shout out to the Eagles, Super Bowl 59 champions, and nobody can take that away from us. Nobody can take that away from Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. Everybody on the roster deserved it from top to bottom, like I said. So that's pretty much all I got for you. And if you like this content, if you like Eagles content, please let me know. Subscribe, share with your friends. I'm just a real dude. I'm not doing any kind of crazy fancy editing and whatnot. This is just straight from the horse's mouth, and I'm bringing it to you the day after the Super Bowl. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will see you next time. Peace.